Yeah. So I was like, I would rather get to the point where I can take care of you guys, I can take care of my family, and I can know that I helped millions of people take care of theirs than to not take that chance. And so I did it. And the next week I was a millionaire. So
wow.
yeah.
You know, I like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm very careful on how we say I heard from God. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I think oftentimes we can say that and we didn't hear from God.
We just put it in our heads and it's what we want. Yeah.
But I mean, here's why people don't hear from God. It's because they don't read the word. So it's like when you heard that scripture, you read the word aligned with your life. And I think that is a key tool to hearing God speaking to your life.
I agree, yeah.
And here's the truth. And some parents may get upset with me saying this because I'm going to be that parent one day. God doesn't always give your parents the vision for your life. He will give you the vision for your life. And I think as you hear the vision for your life, you know, it's going on 2 years now, a little over 2 years. I made a huge transition in my life. Before making that transition, I didn't talk to my parents.
Whoa.
Because I knew that my parents operate off of a different level of faith than I do.
Yeah.
You know, my parents never were business owners and successful at it. My parents never made $1 million. You know, and so what I did is I went to, and this is so good. Hope y'all are listening to this. Your parents' job is to parent you, but there are things above their head that they cannot give you wisdom on.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned to do is my parents there to parent, to comfort, to guide. But some things that God has given me is above their wisdom. So I got to go to someone who actually has wisdom in that space and get wisdom from them to make a decision. And based upon that, I have to make that decision. And then my parents comfort, guide me along that decision.
Yeah.
And when I stepped out on my own, my parents were like, are you sure? Because think about it. They've always worked jobs. My dad retired from the military. My mom is in the school system. And I love all of y'all, mom. I know y'all be listening. I ain't knocking y'all. But what I am saying, me and my sister was talking about this. My sister is married to, I believe, the strongest Black father influencer in the world, Belief Henry. They own a company called Belief in Fatherhood. Over 1 million subscribers all over the world. I mean, on Oprah, on all this type of stuff. Me and my sister was talking because something came up in our family. And when I heard her, she was frustrated. I said, well, Yvette, you're frustrated because our family has never been in our shoes before. So they can't understand 19 making $1 million. Why in the world would you want to stay in school, pay for school when you're doing this? Now, I'm not knocking education. I wrote the book called Debt Free Degree. But what I am knocking is the only way to get education is go to a 4-year university. That's not the only way to get education. You know, there's so many different ways to get education, from reading books, from tech schools, from trade schools, from working on the job, right? And so I commend you for listening to God, because clearly God has given you a talent that a lot of people do not have. You've used that talent well. You have stewarded that talent well. I want to show this clip of you buying, revealing the house that you bought for your family. One of the most emotional clips that I saw of you was really said, okay, I'm about to take her serious. When you bought your dad that truck, and just to see his face when he bought that truck. So y'all check this out real quick. Oftentimes, and I want to talk about the generational wealth, oftentimes within hours, as soon as we get money, we give it back up.
Yeah.
We don't really position ourselves to pass it down. And one of the things for me is I'm very big on making my own table. And I want to make my table so that this table that I make is passed down first, then I want to go back up. So I haven't paid off any of my parents' stuff, right? Because I'm positioning myself to make sure that I can take care of my children's children. But I am going to take care of my parents, very much so. And I love what you've done, right? Because you've came into this wealth. And what made you be like, all right, mom, dad, here's your home. All right, pops, here's your car, right?
Yeah.
What made you at 20 years old be like, mom, dad, here?
I think my dream has always been to be the person that helps other people.
That's good.
And I remember so I have a saying, right? When you value your family's happiness over yourself, that's the true key to generational wealth. And so, even in the video where I buy the Lambo, I think I said that like 3 times. I was watching and I was like, Kelly, why'd you say that so much? But so my parents for the past 17 years had been living in a 2-story, it was a nice house. It was small. We were going from apartment to apartment to apartment to apartment. Then eventually my mom's cousin allowed us to rent this, 2-story home. And I remember when we first got it, it was the biggest house I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I was in kindergarten and all that. But, over time we outgrew it and we also still had not bought it until like 2020. My dad got a really nice contract that allowed him to finally purchase the house. But still, we rented that house from 2004 all the way up until, maybe like 2006. I remember my brother was born in 2006 and we had him in the house. So it was like maybe 2005 up until 2020. And then on top of that, once I would go from school to home to school to home to school to home. And when I would come home, both my sisters graduated, so it was a 4-bedroom house. They had a room, their own rooms. My brother had his own room because he's a boy. And then my parents had a room. So I was literally living in the living room.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was a millionaire. Everyone on the internet's like, Kelly's living in the living room on like a tiny bunk bed. My closet, like I'm living out of suitcases. I have shoes everywhere. And I was like, you know what? I wanted to move out, but then I'm looking at apartments and they're like $3,000-$4,000 a month. And then I go on Zillow and it says the mortgage on a like $700,000 to $1 million house is $3,000-$4,000 a month. And I was like, well, why not just put up the money, know that I'm putting it in equity and then pay that rent? And then in that case, I'm blessing my family. I'm getting them out the position they're in.
Yeah.
And so, it was a nice house. It was really tiny though. It was like 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And so I remember I was just like, you know what? I just went to them and I wish I would have like recorded the moment.
Right.
But for me, I wasn't even thinking like, oh, this is going to be good footage or like to look back on. I just went to them and I was like, so my lease is about to end at college, but I wanted to get an apartment, but I was like, you know what? Rather than get an apartment, I just want to buy you guys a house. And they just kind of stared at me like it wasn't even like, oh my, like excitement. I think they were very confused. Like, cause I'm not really big on this is exactly how much money I make. So they don't really know how much I'm making. So to them, they're like, huh? And so like, they're just silent. And then I just kept going. I was like, well, I'm looking at houses and this one, if I pay $3,000, $4,000 a month, we can get a house that's like $700,000 up to $1 million. And they're just kind of staring at me. And I was like, okay, I don't know what, like y'all aren't giving me anything. And then my dad was like, okay, well, we're going to talk about it and we'll let you know. And I think to them, they were just very confused, but then throughout the process, like as time came on, I think they realized like, oh, this is serious. I think it was when we first went to go look at developers because we were going to build it first.
Okay.
But then the developer was shady. So then we decided to, yeah. And so I think when we were really looking, that's when it really like started to dawn over them. And I remember when I officially sent the wire, I sent it to I sent the receipt to my dad and he just called me and he was like, why do you have me crying at the mechanic right now? I'm a man, And and the whole thing, it's still very surreal. And one thing I'm trying to value more is living in the life I have today while still working towards the future because, to say all those things, it's only when other people are like, bro, you did that, that I'm like, oh yeah. But sometimes you're just so focused on the future, you forget what today is and you forget how important those moments are that, I am able to do stuff like that. And just like the whole process of it, that I'm just, you know, but even then I'm still a very frugal person. Like I don't spend money.
You don't.
I don't. That's my problem though.
That's good. No, what's
But
the
I
problem?
save too much money.
No, you're just never saving too much money. You probably don't
Sure.
need a whole lot of money in your savings account. You should invest it more outside of day trading.
No,
You should put that money into like a good brokerage account and have them invested into like, you know, the stock market outside of day trading.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I hear people say that they save a lot. Like, man, I save a lot. Like I have 1 year in my savings account. I have a part in the high yielded money market account. But then after that, any more money, I actually just dump it into investments. You know, because it's like for me, I want access to where if life happens, I can live for at least a year.
Yeah.
And I don't have any penalties to withdraw. But at the same time, I want my money working for me. So by the time I turn 45, I would like to where my lifestyle is being lived off of the interest of my investment. So not my primary income that I invest in, but I'm living off of the interest. And it's so funny. It's like my money in my high yielded money market account. You know, if I could spend that and that could buy my groceries every month and then some.
Which is huge. Right.
But I don't touch it because I just like to see that compounding. Like, I mean, I'm telling you right now, y'all, you know what I'm saying? I mean, compounding to me is sexy. That's like seeing my wife butt naked. I see that money, girl. I'm like, my God. Yes, Lord. Grow, girl. Oh, my God. That's good growth right there.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? I get excited about seeing my money work for me. And that's one thing that I really, 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 really want people to really understand.
On, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like one of my good friends, and we're way over our time, but one of my good friends says something, and we hear this oftentimes. It was like, man, I was in this room, bunch of wealthy people, and when I'm in these rooms, I listen more than I talk.
Me and you both, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm literally like a high school kid in this room. I'm just like, I'm just listening to watch. And I heard them say this, and it was like, man, they said middle class people. And I ain't gonna lie to you, it was a bunch of blacks and white people in there. And I won't say who said this, but they say, you know, the problem with middle class people and some minorities. I was like, what's up? Watch what you about to say though. But what's up? He said the problem is middle class people and middle class and minorities know how to work hard in exchange for money. What they don't know how to do is how to exchange their money for more time.
Yeah.
We exchange time for more money. He's like, but wealthy people have identified, I'm going to exchange my money for more time. The more time I have, the more creative I can be to make more income. And so I'm like, oh, shoot. And when he said that, I was like, I'm guilty of that. I know how to get up and go bust my rear end, go get $500, come back home and pay bills. I know how to work Monday through Friday, go through labor, work my butt off and give somebody else the fruit of my labor.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to really maximize my time so that way I can get more income to come in so I can buy back more of my time to grow more of my business. So now, like, I hire people. I employ people so I can get more of my time back. And I told this to my team on our team meeting this morning. I was like, hey, y'all, I need y'all. I'm paying y'all to want to do your job. And 2, bring more creative ideas to the table that can make us more money. I'm not paying you just to show up, do your work, and go home. Yeah. No, I need creativity because if I'm the only one coming to creativity, that's cool. I'm going to do that because it's my business. But if y'all ain't bringing something, then you're not really an asset. You're just exchanging your time for money.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I give pay raises. You know, they get commission. So the more ideas you bring, the more money you're going to make.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, man, I think that when I see compound interest, that's what I like. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, that's buying me back more time. And one of my good friends, she just put about $10 million into an account. So if the stock market does well, 10%, probably on your end, you're like, oh, that's nothing. I gotta do that. You know what I'm saying? By myself today. But for us common people who just do the basic stuff, you know, it's like you got $10 million, you get like in between an 8 to 10% return on that. That's a real nice return in the year. You can live off of the compound by itself
easily
and pass the money down to the kids. Yeah. That's what it's all about. So y'all, we're over time. And this is Kelly on the show. She's at the table today, you guys. And I really want to bring her in to share a little bit about her story. I love how she's all about family. I love how she's all about education. And we're going to drop her information in today's show notes, her social media channels. Go check her out. Go learn more about her. Solid young lady. I love what she's doing with her brand. I told her up front, I was like, hey, now, I don't like day trading. And she's like, I know. I don't like credit. I know. And so I appreciate her for coming on the table and, standing true on what she does and what she believes in. Because, I got to stay true on what I believe in. So we love you all. Thank you so much for watching out the show. We'll drop her information in show notes. Go check her out. Go follow her. Go learn more about what she's doing over there in the beautiful city of Dallas, Texas. And we'll see you in the next show. Peace out.